Hi, my name's Eric. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about Aly and AJ. I've been a fan of Aly and AJ since I was a kid. I listened to their album Insomniatic more times than I can count. So when they had their comeback a couple years ago, I was very excited. I particularly love their song Good Love. It's just incredible. And so, of course, I'm very excited that they're going to be releasing a new album soon. Today, they released their brand new single, Attack of Panic, and I'm going to be listening to it for the first time and breaking down the lyrics. Before I dive right into the reaction, let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Aly and AJ song is, and please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. Without further ado, this is Attack of Panic. So we've got like an 80s gritty sort of synth pop sound. Ooh. This is interesting. Okay, so we've got the same lyrics again, sort of like cycle. I love the drop on the chorus. And I like how it pulls back in each post-chorus. I'm preparing for an extra big drop on that last chorus. Nice. That last drop was a bit bassier. I really like that. I like the dark bubbling bass on this. Okay, we had that little isolated vocal at the end. As for first impressions, I like how dark and brooding this song is. Some of the other recent Aly and AJ singles have also been 80s synth pop influenced, but with a brighter sound, more of a focus on themes of love and desire, more of like a thrill of love as opposed to sort of like personal darkness. So I imagine on the album we'll be getting different dimensions like that. I have the lyrics up here in front of me, and I'm just going to be running through them in a little bit more detail. The song opens, "You sit back, relax, everything attacks." Pretty literal description of what a panic attack is. It can come up out of the blue. The line, "Sunlight is too bright for your eyes," of course can just mean feeling overstimulated, wanting to stay inside. More broadly, it feels like you're in a sort of situation, like the same way that it came out of nowhere. You feel like brightness, happiness is just something that you don't feel like you can touch right now. You're just in a sort of negative headspace. And then the line about "you lie awake because sleep never came." The idea is that you are sort of this passive thing that sleep would be acting on. That's a sort of like reversal. Like typically the phrasing would be "because you never fell asleep," but here there's sort of a feeling of things just washing over you. So it fits then that they chose that sort of language. On the chorus, they say, "There's a panic in you, there's a panic in myself." It's sort of in the vein of their typical music, like a sort of like inspirational bent, you know, sort of like confidence and positivity that underlies a lot of their music. And here that emerges in saying, "You are in a bad situation and I can identify with that." There's comfort in understanding that other people are experiencing the same thing, even if it's something that we just sort of take for granted. And then they say, "Talking heads inside us and they try to bring me down." Not quite sure what motivates the shift from us to me. It's interesting that the talking heads are inside the character, because usually a talking head is like a person that we turn to for their opinions. We look to them to see, to get a sense of what's going on in the world and how we should feel about it. So the fact that it's internal is interesting. So that either could be the talking heads are sort of the voice or overwhelming voices of anxiety, or just an internalization of the outside world, the talk that we have been subjected to, and that aggravates anxiety. On the second verse, we have basically the same lyrics to start out, which on the one hand could be just about like a cycle of anxiety. It's just something that you fall back into and experience over and over at random. It also generally just offers us like the same sort of groundwork to build off of, potentially with different ideas, which is what they do here with the line "darkness upon me in a flash," which is a mirroring of earlier. So whereas before, I believe everything was in the second person. Yeah, so you sit back and relax. Now it's I sit back and relax. So we have a mirror perspective. And then we also, before we're talking about sunlight being too bright, and now darkness is a flash. So obviously that's sort of oxymoronic. A flash refers to light. It's the opposite of darkness. So the same way that the light was overwhelming before, the darkness here has a similar sort of effect. And like I mentioned before about the line of sleep not coming to you takes away the agency of the you character here, when they say try to move my legs but they won't behave. Again, even the body is subverting the self. They don't have any power even over their own legs. It's just they are powerless to everything around them, and that is part of the feeling of the anxiety attack and of just the idea of everything attacking. There is nothing that isn't, on the offensive right now. The only other lyric we get that's different is on the bridge, just sort of the mantra of "it's okay, keep breathing." Basically the sort of turning point where they, in the story of these panic attacks, are pushing back against it. So we basically leave the song with this conflict as an ongoing battle that has not been resolved, which is, I think, pretty representative of the experience of an anxiety or panic disorder. It's not something that you just get over, but it's something that you fight each time it arises and in the long term. Overall, the lyrics are pretty literal, not just because the images themselves are things that we would just naturally expect from a song about anxiety or panic, the things about breathing and sleep and darkness and light, but also because the title of the song tells us what it's about. They use the word anxiety in the song. There isn't really a moment in the song where we as listeners become surprised that they're singing about a panic attack. Like, they've just been giving us these like really dense metaphors, and then we finally have extracted the fact that this is all just an elaborate way to talk about a panic attack. They want to skip that step and get right to, I suppose, the therapeutic aspect of first sharing in the experience, then sharing the mantra of just keep breathing, Ariana Grande style. So I guess in that way there is a function to how just extremely straightforward it is. There were some fun details like the mirroring on the first and second verses with the changing perspectives and the relationship between darkness and light. I thought that was fun. I really enjoy the sound and melody. In terms of melody, also, I noticed it is not a descending melody when they repeat the word down, but I guess that would be a little bit too mimetic and on the nose. So overall, I think this will work really well as a counterpoint to the brightness and relative optimism of a lot of their other recent music, and in an album, this would be a nice low point emotionally. Beyond that, it was overall pretty simple, and I think it was simple intentionally. There's more sort of like imagistic and metaphorical weirdness on a song like Good Love, but that's a very different sort of song from this. Good Love is sort of like a slow build to a moment of like embrace, whereas Attack of Panic is just supposed to be exactly what it sounds like. It is just the moment of attack. So that simplicity also works in that way. I am very much looking forward to the album. You can expect me hopefully to react to it whenever it comes out. As always, please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, that's it.